in their first meeting. But Dimmy, in between those two defeats, did beat him at around this time last year on the Pro Tour.
56, Steve, you require 144.
Steve looking comfortable. That's pretty normal for this time of night, because I don't know why, but it always seems like he's playing this time of night on a Friday. It's almost like a residency for Steve Beaton on the Euro Tour.
Well, you're going to put Beaton on a big stage with lots of people watching. You've got to do it after the watershed. Don't want to alarm any younger listeners. Double 16. That'll do. 15 darter.
Second leg Dimitri to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, you see people with their residencies in Las Vegas, Britney Spears and Kanye West. Well, we've got Steve Beaton and we wouldn't trade him for anything.
Now, these two get going. This could be very special. Dimitri, I spoke to him before he went up on stage to play James Wade, and he was almost jumping up and down on the spot. He said he could not wait to get up there. He said, I'm playing really well. And that doesn't always translate when you're playing well on the practice board, but he did. And there were some big, big checkouts under pressure, bullseye finishes. Wade was throwing the kitchen sink at him, and Dimitri van den Bergh found a way to get 6 legs in that match.
It was a very, very impressive game by both players. I think the amount of composure that James showed in that match, considering what he was being hit with, was nothing short of Herculean. I think most players in the world, including Van Gerwen and Cross, might have buckled. And I think it shows where Wade is at right now.
Yeah, he's playing some great stuff. And I have to say that from the contenders, I know none of them have won, but a number of them picked up draws. And there is a very, very real possibility that at the end of this Premier League campaign, somebody who's been brought in as one of the contenders will have picked up a point from the eventual Premier League champion. Hendo got a draw against MVG, of course. Dimitri against Wade.
60 needed. Going to stay up top to give himself one shot, double 18.
40.
Does like to utilise that double 18, and in that particular combination, you've got the weight of dart there, haven't you? As long as you get that, you do run the risk of accidentally catching a flight and busting your score second dart.
I was a big fan of that shot. I still am. There's a lot of players use it. There it is. And probably the best example of that this year has been Glenn Durrant.
Yeah.
Because he used it in his Pro Tour final that he won to great effect. Single 20, staying up top. Like you say, not having to switch to 16, then back up to the top of the board. You're staying all at the top, and it feels a bit more natural.
Well, it was beating this man Dimitri, wasn't it? Dimitri in his first Pro Tour final. Beaten 8-3 in the end by Glenn, who played some really good stuff, particularly in the lead-up to that final. But we are, I think everybody's hoping that Dimitri can start to put some consistency together in the Pro Tour stuff. If only so we get to see him more on the Euro Tour to qualify, play on these big stages where he seems completely at home.
Correct. One thing that amazes me about Dimitri is I shared a cab with him, come back from the hotel in between sessions, and he has this amazing linguistic ability because he can speak multiple languages. I believe he's trying to perfect Spanish now, but he has this ability to be funny in all of these languages, which is an amazing skill. He was making German people laugh, and Steve Beaton is making Dimitri squirm with that 180. All of a sudden the pressure has just been mounted on him like 5 anvils on his shoulders.
Has it? Oh.
89. Steve, you require 40.
Do not miss the big number.
Tops for Beaton. And he gets the 10s. And he knows all about strange and wonderful tight games with Belgian players at this time on the Euro Tour, because last year he was involved in a couple of classics with Kim Huybrechts. Kim Huybrechts, for that matter, was actually beaten by Dimitri in qualifying for this, where Dimitri averaged 102 in that match, where he won 6-4. But it was not an easy qualifying school to get here for Dimitri, because he beat Kiet Nantes when he averaged 97, then it was Kim, then he had to beat Ratajski in 11-leg thriller. I mean, that is doing it the hard way.
That really is doing it the hard way, but he's got the game at the minute with Dimitri. Well, he's got the game full stop, but it doesn't surprise you if he goes and puts in those averages around the ton and takes out big name players. We saw him beat Adrian Lewis last weekend, where they both averaged 102. It wasn't as if Jackpot didn't turn up. It was a great game of darts.
It was overshadowed, that game, really, with the tension that was involved. 3 bits of green for the man in the Belgian colours.
Oh, 142. Oh, no. Thought we were getting a standard Beaton miscount, but it doesn't matter, because when you're that good, you just hit what you like. 140 would have left a bogey number. You see that quite a bit from Steve.
What a lovely second and third dart from Dimitri van den Bergh, using that lie perfectly, and a little bit of a shake of the head from Beaton. You can understand why, because from 126 you want at least a shot at the ball, and he wasn't going to get that after dart 1. Treble 16. Is he going to be at the ball? No, it's double 7.
77.
It's one of those shots when you go that route, you're going bottom left to top right, down to bottom left. Some players don't like it. It's top right to bottom left for Beaton, and he's got no problem pinning it.
Well, he had 126, and he was allowed 6 dots to take it out. He only needed 5. That 86 was plumb.
93.
Been a curious one for Steve Beaton this year, because although he has qualified for all 4 Euro Tours, and he did go on a run to the quarterfinals of the UK Open, if you took that in isolation, you think, wow, what start to the year he's had. But then you look at the Pro Tour events that he's been in. Of the 8, he has had 6 first-round defeats, and then 2 where he's gone out in round 3, the board final.
92.
Which, if you took that in isolation, you'd think, oh, it's been a horrible start. So it's a very difficult one to judge where Steve is at with his game.
Yeah, I think we were talking about that last week, because Justin Pipes had a very similar start in the Pro Tour to Steve. And one of the only games that Justin had won was against Steve.
140.
But the thing is with Steve, you said this last week, he just gets up there and is Steve Beaton, and you know exactly what he's going to do. Yes, this slight fluctuation, that's unfortunate, slight fluctuation in his standard, but you don't ever see him go up there and he's having a crisis with his throw or his confidence or anything. He's just Steve Beaton, just being Steve Beaton, leg after leg after leg.
That sounds like a really good movie.
Oh.
Or some sort of box set.
I look, if you can just be Steve Beaton, even for a moment, a fleeting moment.
The first season would be the mullet years.
Oh.
Then the second series would be the running man, when he took up running.
Was he a runner?
He did a bit of running.
Oh yeah, I've seen him do marathons and stuff, or half marathons at least. Now tops for 4-1. Dimitri van den Bergh, the 2-time world youth champion, hoping this double 5 doesn't land.
35. Dimitri, you require 101.
Well, that one was a bit of a head shaker, hence why he's pointing to his temple right now. He could pay the price. Single 12. Okay. Or double 4.
93.
Give that a bit.
Steve,
just too much.
5.
Johnny Clayton's favourite.
1.
Well, that was very Johnny Clayton-like at double 2. You didn't hear the sarcasm in my voice. He hates double 2.
Dimitri van den Bergh has survived 5 darts to be 4-1 down here, but they're both on double 2.
An exhalation.
4.
And another miss.
Steve, you require 4.
Who's going to get it? Blocked. Blocked again.
2.
Had to go for it.
Dimitri, you require 4.
I've had a few legs like this tonight, and I didn't expect it in this game.
Certainly not the way they were going. It might go on this.
Game from the 5th leg.
If in doubt, give it a bit of juice and make that wire move forward the dart, and that's exactly what happened.
Well,
6th leg, Dimitri,
that,
to
the worst leg
Game on.
of the game, could well prove to be the pivotal one, because Dimitri, at 4-1 down, would have had it all to do.
I think that's about as angry as I've ever seen Steve Beaton. Now he's got to use that anger and channel it.
94.
Yeah, it's an enticing encounter that we're going to have. Whoever wins this game, Stephen Bunting in weight, and I'm looking forward to watching Stephen.
Yeah, he's had an underwhelming start to 2019 himself. But as we saw from Joe Cullen last weekend, the Euro Tour offers an opportunity to kickstart the season.
Correct. And Stephen is very well liked by the German public. Stephen in a good position here to leave a finish. Not with that dart though. Needs to squeeze it in between the two.
60.
And now it's advantage Dimitri. You think back to the last leg, it could have been 4-1 to Beaton. If they had a good leg here, it could have been 5-1. And Dimitri's in the distance, he's in his dust.
80.
But the way it's looking now, it's very possible that it could be a level game.
Well, he's pulling those darts low at the treble 20. Treble 19 comes to help him out.
134. Dimitri require 148.
That was an excellent visit from the former world champ.
18s here potentially? No, 20s.
What a first dart that is. They'll be amazed that he didn't get a second one in.
140. Stevie requires 76.
This is key now. Get his two-leg lead back. He's going to stay up top this time.
Oh,
no!
Steve!
Oh no! Now he's going to wish he'd gone for 16 now. There's the reason why sometimes you shouldn't go for the 20.
Well, evidently concerned about the 60. It's double 2 again. Do you remember this, Dimitri?
No score.
Well, Steve Beaton going to get one back on the young man. The answer is yes. Didn't use the guide, didn't need it. But in the last 2 legs, we've had 2 breaks of throw. Dimitri won a leg that he definitely shouldn't have won. And then Steve has won a leg there that he shouldn't have won. So it all works in circles sometimes.
Yeah, well, 3 holds of throw, followed by 3 breaks of throw. And it is advantage to the bronzed Adonis. Good tanning weather in Hildesheim this weekend as
He
well.
actually said that to me about 2 or 3 hours ago.
Well, he'll know. He'll know more than anybody else.
He was just sitting down, just doing his normal thing, chilling, the way he does. And I said, all right, Steve. And he said, yeah, good tanning weather. Didn't even ask him. Didn't have to ask. The little square in Hildesheim next to that building that looks like it's made of chocolate. Beautiful building. I think it's the Bank Centrum.
Okay.
Just next to one of the hotels in town. And I can imagine Steve sitting there with an espresso, sunglasses, in his flip-flops, giving it the full George Clooney. Yeah, this is a very Steve Beaton type town in this weather.
124.
Right, for 5-2 then.
Every town is a Steve Beaton type town.
56.
Man who has won a Euro Tour before now, the German darts master of a few years ago.
Needs the lot.
140. Stevie requires
Now,
68.
can Steve Beaton find a bit of lethality here on double 4? Bent the wire.
60.
And again.
Dimitri require 110.
1 treble required. Gets it. Double 16 now. Dimitri van den Bergh, crucial ton plus check out. He is living very, very dangerously. Beaton smirks it off.
Well, Steve Beaton is likening Dimitri van den Bergh to a bull Anthony slipper. He just can't get rid of him, and he's biting at his heel. He's probably thinking right now, why won't you just go away? Well, the younger generation of dart player, the likes of Dimitri, they just don't go away. They have this innate quality of never giving up.
59.
Well, look, it's nowhere near the standard that we saw in the Wade-Dimitri game the other night in the Premier League. I mean, they were averaging over a ton all the way through the game, and sometimes close to 110 than 100. But there have been a lot of missed doubles, mostly around double 4 and double 2, that drags the averages down. But there is very, very little between them.
100.
And every time that Wade chucked something at Dimitri, he hit back. And it's kind of the same here, although there are more mistakes thrown in there as well from both men.
97.
If there is a fault in the Dimitri van den Bergh action, it's that he does prod at the board a couple of times before he throws, and sometimes the hand gets a bit whippy. There's a little whipping action at the end, and I think when that gets a little bit too much, sometimes he can spray the darts around, but when the timing's right, it's almost like he can't miss.
Well, he is a big scorer, Dimitri, when he gets going.
100. Dimitri, you acquire 64.
But this would level the game up for the first time since 1-1. He's got it. Back-to-back 15 darters. The Belgian number 2.
Never in doubt, really, was it? Now, I'm sure Steve Beaton has played some Belgians in his time. He will have played in the era of Eric Claris. He's probably played against Leo Lorenz as well. He'll have played against the likes of Rockwell Myers, Patrick Buelan. He will have played against the Huybrechts brothers. And now he's into yet another generation of Belgian dart player.
100.
Oh, we've just had a little word in my ear from our darts history dwarf, who says he played Leo Lawrence when he was the reigning champion of the Lakeside, was it? The Home of World Darts? In the quarterfinals. There you go. There you go. Thank you very much, darts history dwarf. More from him as the weekend progresses.
I think Richard Ashdown's going to be changing his Twitter handle to that what you just called.
What's history dwarf? I don't even know who Richard Ashdown is. I don't know. It's just a little dwarf that lives in our recording equipment. It's very good, though. Now, Dimitri, a good setup shot here could make him favourite for this game.
98. Steve,
it's not bad.
Could have been better. This would be unreal. Would be typical Steve Beaton, and that would have looked very good in the air. But that's huge pressure. Is Dimitri up to it? He's had a 64 that never looked in doubt. He could well need double 16 again if he gets the treble. Guarantee a bull shot? Yes. Bull. Wow! What a shot from van den Bergh! And now he's got the lead. That dart of the bullseye was nowhere near the coast. It was positively landlocked.
Bullseye checkout, something of a feature for Dimitri van den Bergh the other night against James Wade. And that one there could be the telling blow. Steve Beaton left shaking his head there. It looked like he might take the 160 out himself, and he will feel that this game should have been wrapped up. He missed dart after dart after dart for a 4-1 lead. He missed a couple for a 5-2 lead, and he's let Dimitri in.
Is he just toying with him? A bit like what happened with Kim Huybrechts last season. Maybe he's just saying, wait, you can have the lead right now, but I'm going to go bananas for 2 legs and just nick it at the end.
Well, I mean, he did come from behind as well last week to beat Raymond van Barneveld in his first round match in the opening Euro Tour event of the year.
46.
But that does not help him. He'd crafted himself a little opening there, and it may have just slipped through his fingers.
Well, Dimitri, last week against Adrian, played
41.
like a veteran. The following day, he played abysmally.
Yeah, it was 102 average
46.
to beat Adrian Lewis, and it was in the mid-80s as he was hammered by Daryl Gurney.
Now, Dimitri looking for 260s here to leave a finish.
134.
Use of the board. Now Beaton's got to get crafty himself. He's got to go back up top. Needs a 60.
54.
Oh, just the wrong side of the
Dimitri
wire. No
require
need to go for the bullseye
170.
here. Dimitri van den Bergh may be a showman, but I think in this situation he would lay up if he sticks 2 in the treble 20. We won't know. But another one there. And it is match start after match start after match start for Dimitri van den Bergh coming in. Great setup shot.
Yeah, mounts the pressure on Beaton, and that's good pressure, but it's all in the hands of the 2-time reigning World Youth Champ.
Double 18 is pinned by Dimitri. He really could have been buried in that game. Survived darts for 4-1 down, survived darts for 5-2 down. And the bronze Adonis, well, this weekend, the only thing that'll be topping up is his tan. It won't be his ranking money, as Dimitri van den Bergh knocks out another world champion on the Euro Tour this year, having seen off A.D. Lewis just a week ago. He goes through and will face former Lakeside world champion Stephen Bunting for a spot in the last 16 of the German Darts Championship. But there's only one spot that remains open in the last 32. It will go to either another German, Mike Holtz, or the UK Open champion, Nathan Aspinall.
Dimitri, Glückwunsch. Ich finde, gut gekämpft. Vor allem auch gut gecheckt dann ab einer gewissen Phase, ne?
Ja, das stimmt. Den Finish ist, ja, das ist das Einzige, was ich zu Hause trainiere. Wo ich in die Hotels bin, bin ich auch immer nur auf den Check an trainiere, weil wenn du dich aufwärmst, bist du immer auf Triple. Dann warum auf Triple trainieren? Also Checker ist das Wichtigste und das hat mich jetzt den Sieg geholt. Aber ja, Steve hat auch Chancen verpasst. Ich habe diese nicht genommen. Ich habe dann andere Momente verpasst. Er hat es genommen. Aber in meinen Augen ist das einfach der schwierigste Gegner, das man haben kann auf dem European Tour, Pro Tour, egal wo. Du weißt nie, was der kann, was der machen würde. Ja, ich bin im Moment richtig am Schwitzen.
Du hast am Mittwoch Premier League mitgespielt, warst einer der 9 Contender. Wie war es in Rotterdam? Das war ja beeindruckend, allein schon vom Fernsehbild her.
Also Leute, euch hast vielleicht was gesehen auf dem Fernsehen. Ich habe dann auf die Bühne gestanden. Das ist das Verrücktste, was ich in meinem Leben mal gehabt habe, wenn es kommt zum Dartspielen. Ich habe ja mal schon in Schalke da gespielt, da gab es 22.000 Leute. Aber dort in Holland, ich schwöre es euch alle, bitte nehmt euch mal eine Etikette für nächstes Jahr Premier League, weil da wisst euch sein. Es ist so verrückt, aber ich habe es genossen, auf jeden Fall.
Cool, wir sehen dich morgen wieder. Dimitri van den Bergh steht in der 2. Runde.